to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. I have a great show today with my friend Claire Jefford. Claire is an interior decorator. She is a business coach. She's the leader of the designer Facebook group, Interior Design Business Strategies. She's a vlogger, and she is a co-author in my second book, A Well-Designed Business, The Power Talk Friday Experts Volume 1. Claire's chapter in that book is called Managing Client Expectations. She covers how to lead a project and how important it is to make agreements with your clients and how and why clarity in conversation with your client is so critical to the success of your project. Claire has also been on the podcast before, episodes number 237 and 325, where she talked in one episode about creating video for your design firm and in the other on how to create content to sell from your website. So take a listen to these episodes too. And today's show is literally like a master class on the best practices for handling the beginning process of working with your client. Everything Claire does in her firm, from hello, the very first initial phone call that a client makes to your firm, all the way to the end of her initial consult, okay? This is an in-depth conversation about how to, as Claire says, rock the consult. And she delivers, that's for sure. I'm sure after you listen today, you're going to agree with me too. Before that, let's have a big thank you to our sponsor, Article.com, which, by the way, did you notice the fabulous podcast green chair on the cover of our book? Yes, that chair is from Article.com. It's their Sven chair. And I can personally attest to how easy it is to work and order with Article.com, as well as the quality of their product. To open your trade account today, go to welldesigned.article.com. See if there's something that will fit for your next project. You actually still have time to get delivery before the holidays. Go to welldesigned.article.com. Okay, let's talk with Claire. Hey, Claire, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business.
Hi, LuAnn. Thanks for having me once again.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited because I love talking with you about, in particular, your process. Claire, let's be serious.
Yes. I love talking about the processes.
The processes. And I love teasing you about the way you say it.
I know. I'm not even sure if it's a Canadian thing or more of an English thing because, my husband is British, so.
I know. Well, what you call it? Corey says process, though, too. Corey Klassen. Right, so I think it's a Canadian thing.
Okay. Sometimes it's easy. I lived there for 6 years in England, so I can get a little bit confused.
So today, Claire, of course, as a business coach and an interior designer, there's many topics that you and I could choose to talk about. And today what we decided to do was setting the tone for the consultation. And we're going to take this process of yours from how a potential client enters your business and the way that you have defined for yourself and your team all the different touch points that you put a client through that happen before you even knock on the door and meet them for the first time face to face. And we're going to take it to when you say goodbye. So because there's a lot in here that sets your entire firm up for success by the way you do this initial thing. So talk to us about it, Claire.
Well, yeah, and thanks again for having me, LuAnn. Really happy to be here for my third time on your podcast.
Yay!
Love it, love it. Yeah, so for me, one of the things, and I say this in the book, I mean, I always say my mantra really is, living by the following, which is manage clients' expectations, educate your client, and communicate effectively. And essentially, if you do those three things with your client, and you can do them right off the bat and do them consistently throughout the process of working with them on a project, then sure, there's going to be some sort of something come up at some point, whether it's with a contractor or a supplier or something's damaged, those we are out of our control. But for the most part, it should really set you up for success and make for a successful relationship, with your client, and not shying away from some of those conversations and, having them up front, and not shying away about talking about the money. Because the clients who really like the fact that you have a structure and that you have these touch points, not only does it help them to trust you sooner, because you're following through on everything that you said you were going to do from your very first touch point of an email, typically, or a phone call, but you're also, not shying away from having certain conversations and being very upfront about how it is that you work and letting them know why you may specify something specifically. So the trust is there a lot quicker than it is if you just show up at the door and you just do your consult and then you're hoping that they're going to hire you on. They don't really have anything to base it on too much
Right.
at that point, other than your website, or if they've seen you on social media, which can also be huge, obviously.
Right. Say it again. The three key stones of it: manage client expectations. Tell me again.
Yeah. So manage your client expectations, educate your client, and communicate effectively.
Educate your clients and communicate effectively. Okay, so I just wanted to say these three things out loud again, because these are the three touch points, and I love them, and they make the process so clear and make it understand. So it's like a roadmap for an interior designer on what are the three things that are important. And to your point, if you handle these well, you are continuing to build trust even before you say hello in person. So Claire, what happens? The phone rings, the email comes in, the first contact with a potential new client. How does that work? So let's just say somebody emails you. They find you from Pinterest. They come to your website. They email you and say, I think I might be interested in your services. What does your firm do?
Right. So we have standard templates, emails that we have already set in the system. So as soon as someone does contact us, then we just personalize it. Obviously, you need to personalize it. So the email is, set up where we would ask them, say, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. We would love to hear more about your project and share details of our services, the benefits of how, of our services and how we can work with you. We would like to set up a phone call. And now, I didn't have this before, but more recently I've set up to have on Calendly, so people can now go and book a 15-minute discovery call. We have times blocked out, and then that the client would go, they would get that link, and then the next thing is we get an email to say, here's, your call is confirmed for this day. And then from there, we have the conversation with the client, or potential client, and we have the phone call. And then during that conversation, I'm asking them some key questions, which I do have a YouTube video on, which is the 5 questions to ask on the discovery call, like essential questions. We may talk a little bit more or ask them a few more questions, but, and then through there, we're obviously finding out about their project, finding out about what their timelines are, listening for certain triggers that, can either be, positive notes or red flags, such as, if someone says, well, I need you here next week, my contractors, making me make selections and I don't know what I'm doing, I can't always come next week. So it really depends on the situation. The other thing you have to be a little wary of too, and again, this can be, from call to call, you can decide, and you can sometimes usually get a pretty good idea of somebody on the other end of the phone just by having the conversation. But you also don't want to set that tone from the start that you're available as soon as they need you, and that it's panic and you're there to solve all their problems. Not that that's not part of what we do in terms of solving problems and making sure, that everything comes together beautifully, but you don't, if someone says, I need you here tomorrow, can you come? And you show up, that could set the precedent very well, unless you are very good at saying ahead of time, well, listen, normally I don't have availability straight away, but I do have an opening tomorrow. I'd be happy to come out. We still need to collect payment up front because that's part of our process. So those are the kind of things that I listen for. And when I hear a client say that, well, we've been waiting a really long time, we wanted to do this properly, we're looking to start in January and we're now in August. I like that. That I like,
Right.
because that's showing me that they do respect and value the idea of the whole process, and that there is a process, and that the renovation doesn't just happen overnight like like it does on HGTV.
Right.
So we have that phone call, and then after the phone call, then we would send them another templated email that we personalize to them. And because we say, okay, we're going to send you this email, it's going to have a follow-up based on our discussion, going to send you a little more detail about our services, and if I can, I will send them a couple of videos pertaining to their specific, if I've done a video and they're talking about, a kitchen renovation, or they're talking about, 3D designs, then I'll send them a couple of videos that I've done on YouTube where it will link to videos so they can see me talk about how we do a 3D design, or how we, choose finishes with our clients for the kitchen, or things to consider. So by that point, we're at what? I mean, we've had the email, we've had the phone call, now we're sending them another email. So we're at the third kind of touch point with sending them that information.
Hang on, don't go further. Hang on right
Okay.
there. So my question, you're like, what? I'm like, okay, give me.
Okay. Go.
So I want to clarify in there. When we have the email comes in inquiry, you come back, you have your website is automatically set up to send an email back to them. The website has the widget has the ability to address them by name, right?
I have not set that. Sorry, I've not set that up. We actually manually we get the email, but you can absolutely set that up.
Okay, so you are manually doing it, which is, I love it just as much, because that makes it like I can do it today. I don't have to hire a webmaster and developer to get this going. Okay, but you have it already ready and templated. You just will simply put in their name and off it goes. So it says, "Hi Susie Q, thanks so much for for inquiring about my interior design services. I'd love to know a little bit more about your project," whatever else you say. And here is a link to you make a appointment to speak with me so we can get to know each other. Okay.
That's right.
So they make that appointment. You have certain times in your week set aside for that.
Yes.
Then
Tuesdays
you get on the
Thursdays.
phone.
Yes.
Okay. Then you get on the phone. You have a certain list of 5 questions you're definitely going to ask them, and we can link to that video so that we can access that information and not take time now on it. But we have a video that for sharing for interior designers. This is a video for interior designers. Okay, so you're going to ask them the 5 essential questions. You're going to learn about the project. You're looking to understand them as human beings. You're looking to understand their values.
How do they work?
Yeah,
how do they live?
How do they? What's their MO? Do they feel like I can jive with them or not? And do they feel like they're like real life people that understand this isn't HGTV? Now, my question is, at that point, you went into, you have an after phone call email, but are we asking for a consultation at that point? That's where I wasn't sure. Is this email?
Oh, sorry.
You've made a consultation, so you get an email, or you're not asking for the consult here? What are you doing?
Well, we're sending them out further information about our services. So if they wish to proceed with a consultation, now they have all the information in that follow-up email that they need to understand how the process is going to look over the next few steps before we actually get to the consultation.
Okay, but do you, in the conversation, I'm curious, hi, Mrs. Sally Smith, and blah, 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 and oh, yes, that you have a basement to do or renovation to do or whatever it is, and you want to start in January, that's awesome, blah, 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 blah. It starts with an initial consultation, which is XYZ. Would you like to do that? And then she says yes. And then you say, great. When we're done the phone call, I'm going to send you an email. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you are physically actually asking for the consultation at this point.
Well, it could go either way at this point, right? Sometimes people will say, like, I'm calling a couple of different designers. We just want to understand how you work, and some other people may be like, okay, I've been watching you on YouTube, or, I have someone referred you and we need to book a consult. We understand you do this. We love what you did. What are the next steps? So, I mean, you just need to, that templated email, you just need to, again, just just tweak it a little bit to say, hey, we are thrilled that you're excited to move forward with a consultation. Here are the next steps for moving forward. And that's when we would talk about that we need to get payment. So we'll need to tweak that a little because now they're already hot to trot. And then we'll be like, okay, we'll send you an invoice because we don't want to miss this opportunity now. They're ready to go, right?
Right.
But then for some people, they want to get the information. They want to digest it. They want to have a talk to their husband or their other half. And so, again, it's the same templated email. We just tweak it based on how the conversation went. If we can nail them in that, specific phone call and know that they want to move forward with the consult, then obviously that's fabulous. That's the best. But if they need to think about it, they can still still send them out email. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So what we're saying is you're at some point, you either already know because they've said that this has been such a great conversation. I appreciate it. I'm going to have a conversation. You've said that your process includes a consultation, yada, yada, but they come back and they say, that's great. We're really not even planning to do this until, 9 months from now. And I'm gathering information about designers and I'll be back in touch. And then you say, that's great. I'm going to send a follow-up email that just includes how our process works and some information about our company, yada, yada. And so if the person was talking about a kitchen renovation, you're going to say, I'm looking forward to working with you, hopefully on your kitchen renovation. And here's a little video on a kitchen renovation that I did or the process of a kitchen.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And or if they say, yeah, Claire, I'm ready to go. You're like, awesome. I'm going to hang up the phone. I'm going to send you an email. In that email includes the link to set your first the initial consultation and to pay for that consultation, and I'm also include the little video on what to expect in a kitchen reservation.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, so it's one or the other. Okay.
That's right. And always payment upfront, which is what part of the process that we ask for the invoice, for the consultation, sorry. And can I just say, so for people out there listening might be like, well, I don't have a video. But if you have a blog, if you did an IGTV video, maybe it doesn't have to be a formal video. If you have something formal, that's great. But it could be a blog post, right?
Right. Yeah. It could be anything. I mean, like it could be anything. It could be, you could be having a whole conversation about, I don't know, a rustic farmhouse kitchen. Yeah. And maybe you did one and you're just going to say, and I'm going to include a little picture from my portfolio just so that they don't have to hunt your website for it. It doesn't have to be this major life-changing video event. It could anything that you can say, here's an example of work that I've done. And it doesn't even have to have that, for crying out loud, if you don't have that yet, right? Like it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't. The more you can add, great.
That's right.
Yeah. The idea is, though, that you in that conversation, so let's go back to be willing to have the hard conversation. If you get the indicators in the conversation that somebody's like, oh, this, Claire, this really sounds great. And, the next step you mentioned that is a at-home consultation, you're going to come out and you're going to say, yeah, that's my next step. And the fee for that is XYZ. And how it works is, I'm going to send you a link and you will pay for that. And then you will make your appointment. And you just say it as a matter of fact, as if you're saying, and tomorrow the weather is going to be 73 degrees and sunny.
That's right.
Exactly.
100%. This is how we work, and you do it all the time, so you're confident in your process, and you let them know this is the fee, and then once we receive payment by email transfer, which is what I collect here in Canada. I'm not sure if the U.S. has you may have something similar, but it's basically direct payment. So I'm not waiting for a check to clear. I'm not waiting for payments to clear my bank. If they pay me this afternoon at 2 o'clock, I have payment in my bank at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Right.
So and then once we receive that payment, I get notified, you just got a payment, and then we confirm the appointment. I don't set up the appointment before I get paid. They need to pay first in order to solidify that in my schedule and in my calendar.
So it's not a matter of that they can pay and then it will open up your calendar for the appointment. They pay and then you call them.
That's right, because I need to manually put that into my my bank. Right, I'll get the notification. And again, there is a way of streamlining this. If you want to take PayPal, people don't even have to talk to you if you don't want to.
Right.
You can just book an appointment with you. They pay it. Your calendar opens up. I actually like to talk to clients first, and I know I don't want someone to book me, LuAnn, right through my website. 'Cause I want to know if we're a good fit. Because if they're expecting one thing and then I come to their house and they thought I could do it.
Haven't you figured that out already before you gave them the link to make your consultation?
Yes, but what I'm saying is that if someone wants to book like on the website, some people have it, and I'm
Oh,
not
oh,
saying
oh,
this
oh,
is
oh.
right or wrong.
No, 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 no.
You
I
know,
hear you. I hear
some
you.
people might have book me now, and then they'll book, right?
Right.
And then you show up, but you don't really know what they need maybe at this
No,
point,
no, no, no.
unless
I agree with that. I would
you know
never.
what I mean?
Yes. No, no, no,
I
no.
want to talk to people, but some
Absolutely.
people don't. Some people are happy for them to
Yes,
book right through the site.
absolutely. Yeah,
But
right. Veronica
okay,
does that. Veronica
that's right.
Solomon, right?
That's right.
Veronica
She
Solomon.
does.
She's
She
amazing
does.
designer and business coach, and it works for
Absolutely.
her. But
Exactly.
Veronica's a force of nature. Let's be
Oh my God.
serious.
Yeah.
There's, like she is a fierce, wonderful, exciting,
I
strong
love
woman, and
exactly.
she's if she goes to that consult and you've paid her, and she doesn't think you're a fit. I don't think she's going to have a problem with that.
Yeah.
She's going to give you as much value as you can, and then she'll be happy probably to say we're not a good fit. We're not going to the next step. I mean, I've
Right.
never had that conversation with Veronica, just knowing
No,
her.
neither have I. But
Right?
yes, exactly,
Right?
exactly. So that's the thing, right? So she's worked out what works
For
for her.
her. Yes.
I like to talk to people first. We only take on a limited amount of projects at any time, and I just want to make sure that
Right.
that I like this person, I want to work with this person,
Right.
and that I can help them the way that they need to be, that they need to be serviced. So,
Right. But for these purposes, though, in our little timeline here, we've had that discovery call.
Yes.
And they've
Yes.
said yes. And now you're sending them the link to pay.
That's right.
But
That's right.
so your particular process doesn't allow them to pay and book you then. They pay, you get notified, and then your office calls and says, "We received the payment for your consultation. Let's book that appointment."
Yeah, we email them another templated email, and we give them a link to our Calendly, and now they can book in the schedule.
Okay. So it's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. I love it. And so now there's another email. So these
That's
are
right.
this is what your whole
These are the
point
touch
is.
points.
Exactly.
Yes,
It's
because
like, there's no delay. I paid my money, and Claire's
right.
team is watching this. And what is your internal structure like, Claire? If somebody pays their money for a consult, and you have to manually now email them this templated email, and you have to manually email it to them, and you have to give them the link. What is your window that you have set aside for yourself and your team that person gets that within what hours or days that's appropriate for you?
Oh, like when I'm sending an invoice or I mean anything I'm going to really send. If I tell you I'm going to send it, it's going within that day.
No. I mean,
oh.
you just received the notification that they paid for your consult, and now you have to manually send them an email. Is it a 1 hour window, a 2 hour window, a 3 hour, a 1 day? What's the timeline that you would look at somebody on your team and say, "Are you kidding me? They paid for the consult at this amount of time ago, and we haven't sent the email yet." What's that window?
Oh, yeah, no, that's like almost immediate. Like,
but because
I don't say
it's
it has
not
to go within 2
automated,
hours,
you might be on a project. How do you do that?
Well, then I can come. If it's a couple of hours, I'm not going to lose my mind over that. To be honest,
the same day. We're going to say it's
within
the same
the day.
day.
It's the same day.
Okay.
I mean, if it's in there, you want to get that as quickly as possible because that's your business. That's money in your pocket. So if I'm sitting here and it comes in, then I'm going to stop talking to LuAnn on her podcast now because I have to bank that. No, I'm not. No, but it's got to be pretty immediate because again, then what happens is I say to the client, once we receive your payment, within 24 hours of that, we will send you out our email with a questionnaire. We're going to set up a private either Pinterest board or House Idea Book if they found me through House. I know I said the terrible H word. So wherever, if they found me there, where a lot of clients do. So, then I'll let them know this is the next step of the process. This is what we're going to do. And then when I send them that email, I always say, I love this and I love using this as promised. I love starting that off.
I love that.
Right. So that sets the tone straight away that they're
nice
like,
sales
she promised
technique.
me something and now she's sending it. And so then they receive that email that has that information. And we say we need to have that questionnaire returned within 48 hours because I don't want to get it 2 hours before I'm heading out to the consult. And if they don't do it, they don't have to, but we put a line in there that says, to make the most efficient use of our time together, if you can spend a few minutes to fill this out, let us know what you're thinking with your project, a little more detail, then, it really helps us. Honestly, like 95% of the people fill out the questionnaire. So it's it's not like it doesn't happen.
Right, right. So here we go. So I'm just keep recapping here.
That's
okay.
right. Yeah.
So here we go. They have sent their payment. You're on a project. You're at your desk, wherever you are. By the end of that day, you are now going to send them another email that says, "Thank you so much. Received your payment for the consultation. Here is a link to my calendar to book that consultation. And in the meantime, I have a questionnaire that if you could return it within 48 hours, it will help me be more productive, help us be more productive in the meeting." And of course, I forgot the magic words are, "As promised, here's the email with the link for the calendar, yada, yada, yada." So we've got in there. And what did you say about a Pinterest board? You are inviting them to start one, or what were you doing with that?
Yeah. So they can either, so for inspirational images, now this doesn't necessarily happen if it's just a consult, because if I know it's going to be just a consult, then I may not need, if I'm going to a paint consult, I don't necessarily need them to set this up.
Okay.
But you know what? We tend to send it out anyway because people quite like it.
Right.
And so we'll say, like, as promised, here is a link to your private Pinterest board. And if you want to add photos of pictures that you like, what resonate with you, then, feel free. Just don't add more, keep it to about a dozen. I had one woman who literally added over 100 pictures to an idea book on a house. I didn't even look at more than 10.
Well, and the thing is, what you find out is like, to her, there are 100 different pictures, but to us, they're like the 10 pictures repeated 20 different ways, right? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and the other thing that does, just for anybody, listening, is, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to tell you, I think it is, but is that will help now with your Pinterest. Like, now your clients or potential clients or past clients, even I have clients that I haven't worked with for 2 years, they're still adding to my Pinterest boards or my idea books. So that's helping keep your organic in those social media.
Getting all the people's working for you. I love it.
That's right. And the other thing it actually does, LuAnn, is that if I see something and I see like, Tammy pinned something, and I haven't worked with Tammy maybe for a year when we did her main floor, but now she's pinning stuff to her basement, I can reach out to Tammy and go, "Hey, I've noticed that you've been adding some photos. I'm really excited about these. I love the one with, that built-in bar. It's gorgeous. Are you thinking about doing your basement soon? And, let me know if you want to help. I'd love to work with you again." So there's actually a few things there that
very clever, Claire Jefford. I love it.
I have my moments, LuAnn.
That's awesome. I love that. So, okay. So now we have sent this email. We've got the Q&A. They've booked the consultation. You're going to review the Q&A. You're going to review the Pinterest board. And now you are preparing to go to the consultation. Are there things that you do additionally in your back end, or is it simply gathering and reviewing their Q&A and their Pinterest and their other boards, or are there any other things that we should think about?
Okay, so let's just back up for a second, make sure I don't forget to answer that question. But just so you know, from the very start, I actually have templates for all of this stuff. So I get a phone call, we log the phone call. We log when the person called, what their name was, where they found us, huge, right? Where did they find you? A little bit of details, their phone number. Then I have another form that once we actually get to speak to them, because sometimes you don't always, maybe you don't get in touch with them for a few days or whatever. So now we pull out the other form that we have, which is our, now I have to pull it out just to remember the name of it, don't I? We pull out that form. So it's all the client information. So now I'm getting on the phone with you. I want to make sure I don't forget to ask you these 5 questions. It's discovery call. It's my discovery call list. And then I have a section there for notes. So if I never need to refer back to this, then I have this in a file that I've just opened up right now in my binder, that I can refer to. And then once a client does sign, then I update my tracking inquiry, right, from the very first template that I filled out, and I tick their name. So I can go through and go like, oh, wow, well, we've just booked like 8 of the last 10 inquiries. That's great. Or, wow, we only booked 2 of the last 20. What's going on, sort of thing, right?
Tracking, right.
So it's just tracking, and it's also having those forms. So we've got the discovery call form, and now once they've decided that they want to move forward, now I have a folder that we create. And I already have I already have like 4 or 5 always made up. And in that folder is my outline of services sheet, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. I have a little postcard of a room that I've done with my information on the back, branded and that sort of thing. I have my card in there. And then I also keep their information when I come to the consult, like all of these forms that I've filled out. But then I take that out when I actually physically hand them over at the folder to keep as that for them. So to answer your question, it depends again on, I always have a form of a binder, that I bring with me. And in the binder that I bring, I have my PowerPoint presentations, like examples of PowerPoints, because you know what, to manage your clients' expectations, they don't know. You might do these PowerPoint presentations or, mood boards for clients day in, day out, but if clients have never worked with a designer before, or it's their first renovation of a home, they don't know what to expect and what is it that you're providing. So, excuse me. So I actually show them like, okay, here's an example of the actual PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to that you will get your own copy of for your own project. And I say, do you see here how we go through the entire scope of work? Here's renderings in different angles. So you'll be able to see the full view as a bird's eye view. You'll also be able to see different angles from entry points in the space. And then we'll also include the full scope of work. And so they hold it. They hold it. So this is part of what I prep, but I always have it in the folder that I take with me. So I don't have to it's already ready to go all the time. I have
nice.
I have 3 presentations. One's a main floor. One is is custom, because sometimes we do the custom decor and decorating, as well. And then some might be for just a layout. So I can say here's 3 different things that we offer. 3 different services that we offer.
Okay.
So again, that's so huge in managing expectations, because I have heard sometimes in my group, or sometimes say like, well, I presented to my client and it wasn't what they expected. They expected more. Well, that should never happen, because you need to show them what it is that they can expect. What does a mood board look like? Show them that this is the mood board. Show them, oh, here's all my pricing. You're going to get a whole pricing list that's attached to the mood board, and they can see it. And that way it just eliminates any of those questions afterwards. And they'll be like, oh, wow, I'm excited to get my own, I can hold this and I can show my neighbors, whatever, and I can go through it at my own leisure, sort of thing.
Right. Well, it is very important, because I remember working with a designer at WindowWorks. It was for a commercial designer that we worked with for many years. And I remember the first time seeing her mood board for the model apartment that we were doing the window treatments for. And not good, bad, or indifferent. The woman is an amazing, talented designer. But I remember thinking, how does she create this I had seen her finished product probably 20 times before I ever saw her mood board, is what I'm saying, because there was no need for me to see it. I just get specified what the window treatments are, just go do them, lady, right?
Yeah.
But one day we were working at her office and she was like, this is the next coming up project. I've started to put the mood board together just so you can get an idea. Don't worry, we don't need to. And I remember looking at it going, the heck can you make that thing like flat D look like that room? But that's to your point, like the rest of us don't know that's what you work off of sometimes. And for you see it in 3D, full-blown color and full-blown reality. But for somebody who's never looked at it before, it's like, that's how I'm going to have to pick something. But if you tell me ahead of time, and I've already have all these other reasons to trust you, and I see, especially Claire, I'm sure you have the situation where you probably present the picture of the mood board and then maybe the picture of the final room, right?
Well, sometimes we do the renderings where we can actually upload the actual fabric that we've selected, the actual paint colors, a piece of artwork, and then we also have the mood board as well. We don't do that all the time because the 3D does take a lot longer. It's obviously going to be more of a charge.
But what about just the finished room? Like if you said to me, as I'm your potential client on a consult, and you said, here's the mood board for this room and here's the photographer's picture of this room.
Exactly. So,
right?
Okay. So yeah, you hit it. So in these PowerPoint presentations that I take to every client meeting, at the back, the client will see the actual finished face and the before. So I say, this is the before, this is the after. They're like, wow. And I go, see the mood board, see all these fabrics, see the bed. that's the bed they got. And then people are like, oh, wow, okay,
now I can see that
now
awkward
I
thing
can
floating in the
understand.
middle of the room there,
That's
like it, because the mood board's like, okay, that's like whatever.
That's
no,
right.
but it's the truth. But that, as a consumer who doesn't do it for a living, it is very helpful for us to see that weird, awkward looking mood board. You translate that into a beautiful room.
That's
you know, right?
That's
and so, and I'm sure it doesn't look weird or awkward to you guys, but it does to the rest of us.
Right.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes, like it's like this chair floating over there. It's like, really, that's under the table, but it's not,
no,
kind
but
of.
it
It's
doesn't look like it's
floating
under
on
the
the
table.
ceiling, right?
That's
It's
right.
right next to the chandelier there. Looks weird.
Yes. Well, that's where if you do have like so we usually accompany that at least with a 2D design so they can see the layout. But if sometimes we have indeed done the 3D designs as well, which is like, okay, now you've really seen it because it's all uploaded and it's in 3D.
And there's value in that. And to your point, it's probably the different types of projects that you do. If somebody's saying, hey, let's refresh my master bedroom, that's a lot different expenditure of time, money, and resources than let's do the whole first floor. So maybe the whole first floor, I might say, I'll pay a little extra to have the 3D. I need to know it's going to be perfect.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's so powerful. Like, just on a side note, I mean, we almost don't do any project now without having the 3D. Like unless we are doing a custom, say we just did this condo, when we do the custom condo, to have the mood boards and the 2D was enough, but for the majority of like main floor renovations, basement redesigns, a bathroom, I mean, we are doing these 3D designs and they love it. They love it. So let them know what to expect, because also the other thing is, just a real quick touch on this, but a lot of 3D design programs are different. And I did do a blog out there that it gets a lot of traffic because I had a lot of people are asking about 3D designs and which program to use. It's always a big one in the groups. So I actually did a blog and I invited 10 or 12 other designers who actually offer that service to other designers to participate in this blog. So if anyone's interested in that, LuAnn, I'll send you that link and they can link to that blog, because it's also good to see, what should I use? SketchUp? Should I be using Chief Architect? What does this one look like? So we include photos. I include their picture as the designer. They include what their fees are. So it's just really helpful just to help the design community.
Because we don't need to say that you as an interior designer should now sit down for 8 hours and do this thing, because like pulling teeth, if you can build it in, there's a fee. Maybe one of these firms would charge you $150 to do it. You just make it as a line item. You can have a 3D rendering of this room for $200, right?
That's right.
You got to make some money on it. Right.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
So, well, I have to say, I don't know if you heard the episode with John and Theresa Dorlini from Circle Design, and they are a design build firm, interior design firm, and Theresa is an interior designer and John is an architect. And what they said is that, he said, they really are at the point where they insist on the 3D design renderings. He said, because they find so many mistakes, because not every project that they do, John has been the architect on. So a lot of times they are the design firm for a project that somebody else has been the architect, but his skill set is that he can look at an architect's drawing and say, there's not enough room in that hallway for this, or you said you wanted a mud room that would fit 3 kids and 2 dogs and all their stuff, and yes, the architect has a mud room on here, but can I show you what the size of it is? You know what I mean? Like in 3D, when you see that, he said, then the people can, the clients can understand, just having a mud room doesn't mean I have the mud room I envisioned.
That's
and so he said they're really at the point where they insist on it, because it just cleans up a lot of mistakes at the beginning.
That's right. And you know what else it does, and my contractors love it for this, is that it minimizes change orders once the project's underway, because the client is very less likely to come home and be like, oh my God, stop what you're doing. I didn't know that was going to look like that when the wall was half down. Well, you did actually, because I took you on a virtual tour and you saw it. So it really eliminates that. So my contractors love that. They're like, this is amazing, And
it ties right into the whole setting the, managing the expectations and setting the tone. It's like, this is how we work. So I love it. Okay. So now you're in the consult.
Sorry. But no, I'm going back. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
You asked me a question. I don't know if I answered.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I wanted to make sure you knew that I have all these templates that I fill out, so I'm tracking everything. So you said, what else do I bring? So
to prepare.
Sorry, and I'm not yet at the consult. So what we also do is if we haven't received back the questionnaire within the 48 hours, we will send them out an email saying just a reminder that, your consultation is coming up. If you can complete the questionnaire and send it to us, that would be great. So there's another touch point. They're usually like, we usually get it because people are so excited, but sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I forgot, or oh yeah, I'm just going to be, sending this out tomorrow.
Right.
So there's another touch point. And if they send it and you don't have to prompt them to ask, then we still send out an email, obviously, to say thank you for sending it. But then also, and now here's a reminder for your meeting, which will take, because we often book out like 3 to 4 weeks out, right? So we're not coming to see you tomorrow. So you might need a reminder for that appointment. Like I like my guy to remind me of my hair appointment because I might book it like, 8 weeks ago and I forget, right? Or the calendar, but it's nice to get that call. So again, I say it in an email. We're going to also send you a reminder email 2 days prior to your appointment, or 5 days, sorry. And then they get that email. So again, like it's like literally like there's 8 to 10, depending on, how the process is gone, touch points that you've already connected now with this client. You haven't even met them, but you've said you were going to do this and you did it. And then they sent you payment and then you sent them this. So it's all about like, now I'm showing up and they're like, geez, this gal has got structure. We know she's not messing around. Now we're at the consultation, right? And before I leave that part, you said, do I bring anything? I will bring to the consultation. And again, I have a video if someone wants to go watch it on YouTube called What's in My Bag, Baby? And it's basically not everything all the time, but it's potentially what I could bring to the consult. Because LuAnn, I love doing 2-hour only consults. And if a client is needing some ideas for their kitchen renovation, let's say, but I know that they're just not going to invest, they're not ready, or willing to invest in a designer throughout the whole process to be with them, then I will say, hey, yeah, I'll come. I'll bring, I have samples of subway tiles. I have, my little Caesar stone and Cambria samples. I have, my large paint boards of, Maria Killam's paint boards that I have. So I will bring as much as I can. And what often happens there, and I know sometimes, again, some designers are against this model, but I'm telling you, it's beautiful in my opinion. Of course, I can say. But I mean, so sometimes it's just the 2 hours and I'll help them as much as I can. Now, 2 things can happen here. One, I still get a review. I can still get a testimonial because I've helped them a lot. I've shown them a lot. I've explained a lot and things that they need to consider. And the other thing is, more often than not, the clients look at each other, like if there's one or two, especially if it's a couple, I've had it where they look at each other and they go, oh my God, I didn't realize, we had to think about how to lay out the backsplash and what grout we wanted to use. And are we going to stack it or brick it? And okay, we need you for your designer for a day, service, because we need the help for this. Or again, it depends on your model. Maybe they need you for the whole process, right? On the reno. So I always say to people, don't be afraid to give. I like to give as much as I can because, it always comes back to you, and they have paid me for the consult. So I'm not holding back at this point to be like, well, I'm going to hold back in case you don't hire me or so you hire me. That's not my mentality at all. The more you give, I find people are like, geez, man, if she was like this for just 2 hours, imagine if we have her along with us for the entire process. Like, how great is this going to be? So that's, that happens. That can happen depending on if it's just a 2-hour consult. And yeah, but if it's not, then I know usually ahead of time people say they want the 3D design. They saw their friend had it, or my contractor referred them to me. So I know that I don't need to bring a ton of stuff because we're actually going more over the process of I'm getting to know them, right?
Right.
So yeah, so we have all of those touch points. So now I show up on their door and they're 5 minutes early at minimum, never ever late. And there I am now she's here, and now what's she going to do? And she said she was going to be here. She's here. And then what I do is I don't take the tour, which comes as a shock sometimes to a lot of designers because, I was finding that when I first started, no one told me we didn't know how to talk to a client. We didn't know how to lead a consultation. I didn't know, I was just crossing my fingers, hoping that they'd hire me for further services. I didn't even know what I offered at that point because I was brand new, right? Nothing that they teach.
So true, right? We all start.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. So now I was finding I was taking the tour because I was like, okay, I'll let them lead because, and this is before, obviously, I had this entire process that I'm taking you through.
Right.
And they would, they called me because they wanted looking at their ensuite, renovating it. And I'm down in the basement looking at, their kids' playroom that they hate. And we're wasting time talking about this playroom. Like, I will take the tour afterwards, but I want to continue with the momentum of my structure. Again, like we talked about this off air, like, you don't just go in, book an appointment for surgery, and they take you and you're gone.
Right.
Like, they need to understand, how do I work? And even though we've had these conversations, now we're meeting in person. So they say, what should I do? Should we take you on a tour? And I say, I'm going to take the tour after. I've got a folder here for you. I've got an outline of services form that I want to take you through, and I've got your completed questionnaire. So if we can just take some time first to sit either at your kitchen table or in your dining room, then let's go through this, and then I'm excited for you to show me your house, because they're kind of excited to show you, but and so I find that, again, people really, they like the good clients, they like that, because now that I have structure and I'm still in control, right? But in a very non-aggressive way, just a more of an assertive, I'm a professional and this is how I work. So we sit down and I go through my benefit of services, and it basically outlines, first of all, the services that I provide, and then it outlines, the benefits of hiring me, right? So I want to tell you, one of the reasons why I do this, LuAnn, specifically, is because one of my very first clients was a decorating project of her living room, a custom decorating living room project, and I reached out. I think she was on my blog. She must have been on my newsletter list. And I, sent an email, I don't know, maybe a year or two later, about a bathroom that I did. And she messaged me saying, I'm so sorry. I did not know you did bathrooms. I thought you just did decorating. So we've already been working with someone to do our bathroom, but I would have hired you if I had known.
Oh.
So I need to tell people straight up what I do. What do I do? How can I help? So I go through that, it's only like 6 points. I do 3D drawings. We do, full custom decorating. I can do a designer for a day, custom window treatments, that sort of thing. So it's not like you're eating up a ton of your consultation time either, but you need to let them know. And the one thing I always say to people, like, if there's something that, you're not sure about, or that you're thinking about moving forward for any sort of project for your home, interior, exterior, think of me first. Like, if you like me, like, this is what I say to them, if you like me, right? If you like me and how, just think of me first, because even if I don't offer it, I can almost guarantee you, I can, put you in touch with someone who can. And I want to give you great referrals and da-da-da. So
that's
again,
awesome.
Just let them know what you do. And then the other thing that I have on this sheet, which is actually all included in my Rock the Consultation, which we'll talk about after, if that's okay, because it's very helpful to so many people. But I also put awards that I've won on there. Like, so I've put, like, okay, best of house. Again, let's not go into some of those are bogus, but
we can never say that word anymore without saying, let's not talk about he who should be named nameless.
That's right. But I still put any sort of awards that I've won, because it, and I mentioned it to the clients as I'm reviewing. I said, by the way, we're really proud to be an award-winning design firm, and these are the awards that we've won. And to Fred Berns' point, we are the only interior design firm with 100 reviews in the GTA, the greater Toronto area, so we are the only one to have 100 customer and, trade reviews, and we're very proud of that, so,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
You got to toot your own horn. I always say, if you don't toot your own horn, ain't no one else going to do it for you.
It's true, though, Claire, because the thing is that what you're doing is you're doing it in the right way. It is not tooting your own horn when you are in a nice way explaining to people why, look, this person has already reached out to you by email. This person has already had a conversation. This person has already invested in the consultation. So all you're doing is, in a nice way, saying, I'm confirming that you've made some good decisions here.
Exactly.
I'm an award-winning person. I've got 100 reviews. I'm the most reviewed person in the greater Toronto area. And, you don't say the end of the sentence, but yay for you for picking me. And that's really what you're implying. It's like, you're a good decision maker. And that's a good thing. People want to know, hey, I liked you and I didn't know that part. Right.
Yes.
And so, and you can't expect them to know, to your point about the lady with the bathroom. Vin harps on us all the time at Window Works. If you're selling an awning, make sure they know you do window treatments. If you're selling the window treatments, make sure they know you do awnings. Because we've had the exact same thing happen to us where, we run into somebody, at a restaurant or whatever, and they're like, how's everything? Oh, we just, we redid our whole living room. Oh, great. Who did your window treatments? Oh, well, blah, blah, blah. Why didn't you call us? You do window treatments? You're like, what? We're 40 years in business. Yes, we do window treatments.
They're called window works.
Right? So and the thing is, if I didn't have that exact experience over and over again through the years, I might listen to your tip here and think, well, does that really happen? But I'm telling you, listening, it happens. Let somebody know that if you if you are there for a pain consult or a window treatment consult and you do full service, don't assume they know it. They might not know it.
That's right. And you know what? Just on that, while we're on that point, is also intermittently talk to your trades, meet with your trades, because we've recently done a job and we went with one company for I'm not gonna get into detail, but we went with one company for a service they provide, and then later on I was talking to one of my trades and he's like, well, we provide that too, and I was like, oh my God, why didn't you tell me? I would have totally worked with you.
Yes, I didn't have to start learning a whole new company's culture.
That's right.
Yes.
So, and I've been working with this guy for 5 years and I didn't know he offered this. So I didn't know that he offered this, right?
See?
So it's again, just, I know we're all busy, but maybe even once a month, just on a total side note here, maybe just reach out to some of your trades or every couple of months and say, can we sit down and have a coffee and just review some projects you've done and maybe things that, so what I offer and you tell me if you've got some new offerings, because I love working with you. So yeah, that was a hard lesson learned, to be honest, but I'll address that in a Widwill at some point.
That's the truth, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm making a note to discuss Widwill when we wrap up, because there might be somebody listening that doesn't know who you are and what that is. So we're going to say that at the end.
That's right. Okay.
Exactly. I can't imagine it, but it might be possible.
You
right?
know. Yes.
So now we are at the consult. You're going through, and I love that. Let's just backtrack to this for a second too, because I love that you're supplying the language on how to do it. So somebody says, hi, how are you? Oh, we want to come in. Oh, how's everything? Blah, blah, blah. Great. So can I get you started by taking you a walk through my house? It's like, you don't say, no, lady, not doing it. You're like, oh, that sounds awesome, and I would love to do that when we're finished. But first, I'd love to walk through the materials that I've brought for you. I have your Q&A that I'd like to review. Yeah. And the thing is, what happens is, even, I don't care what other things you have in there, your agreements, your ladder of services, to use Nancy Ganzikaufer's words, whatever it is, I love that you said, I have your Q&A I want to review, because now I just went, we're going to talk about me.
Yeah.
Let's sit down. I'll do that. Right.
That's right.
She cares about me. She cares about, it took me a half hour to, fill this bloody thing in. And it's not like nobody's ever mentioning it again. And I've got to repeat it.
Sometimes, right?
Doesn't it? Right.
Yeah,
we gather information and we don't use it.
No one looks at it. I'm like, why did I fill that out? Why did I spend an hour doing this and no one's going to look at it? It's so frustrating.
I just said it to somebody, a service provider, in the last week and a half. I'm like, I'm sorry. I've done this already.
Yes.
You have? Yes. And that email that you sent me. Now I'm pissed that I wasted my time doing it. No. You go read the email and call me back.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what else I know is is nice about this, LuAnn, is on there. I also ask for the family members and the names and the ages of the family members, and if they have a dog or cat. So, sometimes, not often, but sometimes I might get greeted by the door by like the 11-year-old, and I might be like, and just before I go in, I pull out my folder and I go, okay, we've got Ethan and, Shelly are the two kids, or, and so then now the little boy comes to the door. I'm like, oh, hi there. My name's Claire. You must be Ethan. I'm here to meet your mom. And, mom's just walking in going, oh my God, she knows my kid's name.
Wow.
She's paying attention to detail. Right. So again, it's all these little things, right? Just little things that can go a long way. Cause I know that when someone acknowledges, now I have a dog, right? My little puppy, so when someone comes up and they're all interested in my dog, like I like that. I like that. Right. Rather than just ignoring him and,
And maybe I will come to Canada and visit your house.
Everyone loves my dog. You must come. Everyone loves Cooper.
Oh my God. It's so funny. I'm not going to go down a crazy road, but yes, no, I love I love that, because there are some people that will have the actual cognitive thought of, she pays attention to details. That's a home run. And there's other people that will just have that, I like this lady thought again. Because she just said hello to my little boy using his name. right?
That's right.
And both are home runs.
Yeah, that's right.
Both results are home runs.
Yes, or I often find too, and I always review the question. I don't spend hours reviewing the questionnaire.
Right, you
I have a
skim it.
highlighter. I go over it maybe for 10 or 15 minutes beforehand, and I'll just highlight stuff.
Right.
And then they also see when I pull it out that I've highlighted stuff. I do the same thing
Yeah.
when I do coaching. I have everything there. I ask the questions. I highlight stuff. People can see, right?
Right.
And then they may also, maybe they'll mention something, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's because your mother-in-law lives in the basement, and we need to make sure that, da da da. And they're like,
Right.
oh yeah,
That's
oh
right.
yeah, I told you that on the questionnaire.
Right.
It just helps building that relationship. And I can't stress how much, like for me, this has been huge. And I know that others who have, gone and done the way that I've done and that I teach, I cannot imagine just showing up at a consult like, I'm here.
Right.
What
Right.
do you need me to do? Like,
Right.
I'm like, really? Like, these people have invested, they've chosen you out of everybody else, and you're just going to show up and you're not going to leave them with anything? Like, anything? You're just showing up. I don't know. For me, I don't know.
Well, I think, you know what? Look, sometimes it happens out of inexperience and we don't realize
Right.
how
Yes.
much. The fact of the matter is that, you certainly could show up cold. Let's be serious. There's people that can rock it and show up cold and work them over and, create a bond and create a relationship in the hour and a half meeting. There's no question. But your point is, why work so hard in that first hour and a half meeting when all of these things can be done ahead of time that set the stage and, to your point, set the tone for what it's like to work with your company.
That's right.
And you're
That's right.
consistently teaching them that you have a set way of doing things. And so therefore, if I am this buttoned up in just answering from hello to the first hello at the door, how buttoned up is my actual process for managing your project, right? And you're also teaching them that you're reliable, that you're going to do what you're going to do, and you say it, you're going to do it, and it's not going to la la.
100%.
Right?
100%. And the other thing to note too is that all of this stuff, people might think, oh my God, she spends 2 hours before she gets to the consult. Like, you have to remember, all of this stuff is already pre-set up. Like, it's not like I'm reinventing the wheel with every email that I send. I'm not, my templates are already in my binder that I take to every single consultation. I'm not really spending
scrambling
a ton
on
of time.
Tuesday at 10 a.m. for an
No.
11 o'clock appointment going, I need a binder. Where's the papers?
That's right. Yeah, where is this? Where is this stuff?
It's all sitting there. There's a new binder ready to be designated to a client. And this is where, this is where we all know that when we put the brakes on and we just say, whether it's every Monday or every Tuesday from 9 o'clock to 10:30, I'm going to work on setting up these emails. And if it takes me 4 Tuesdays for an hour and a half to get through every single template, or conversely, I can say, I'm putting the brakes on, and next week I'm closed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 8-hour days, we're getting all the templates done, we're getting the binders built, we're going to Staples, we're getting them, we're putting little pretty branding on them, we're doing it.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Do it how you want to do it, but the reality is the doing of it and the putting the brakes on and taking the time to do it increases not only efficiency, let's be serious, but it increases your close rate because you are organized and you are presenting that as a
That's right. Because you feel better. You feel better.
The confidence
like,
that comes from it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You said the word confidence.
So one thing, just before we go further, because it is helpful, you do coach designers, and it is helpful to teach the language before we have confidence as business people to say no. So take us back. We're at that initial phone call. You're at the point they've indicated they want to go ahead with a consultation, and now, as you said in the beginning, you're just going to say up front, "That's awesome. I'm so delighted. I'm looking forward to moving ahead too. Here's how it's going to work. I will send you a link now, follow up an email with a link where you can pay for my consultation, which is XYZ amount of money. And once I receive your payment, I'll be notified by email and I will be back in touch with you to make that actual appointment." Now, I get that at this point in your career, 9 out of 10, probably 10 out of 10 people just like, yep, that's how we do it. I'm going to give her my money. But there was a moment probably when you were first trying this on for size and somebody told you should do it this way. And somebody's out there saying, Claire says I should do it this way. And the first time they try it, maybe it works. But the second time the client says, oh, well, I'll give you the check when you get here. Okay, just give me the link to make the appointment.
Right, right. Yes, yes. Yeah. And of course that did happen at, at some, and it's, still sometimes people will say, well, you know what, why don't I just pay you when you get here?
Mm,
Yeah. And for me, the way that we explain it is we let them know that, we have this process, we have it in place because we know that it works. We have our calendar that we like to make sure, because we book out clients, that we want to make sure that you're scheduled in the calendar. And in order to do that, we need to have the payment ahead of time. It's part of the process that helps solidify your appointment and take us all the way through to the end. And that's how we do processing payment ahead when we're also doing purchases for furniture. Like sometimes I will, at this point, this is a good opportunity to let them know, hey,
that's going to be this way all the time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is part of our process. And, when we're taking payment for whether it be the consultation or whether it be for design services, putting together a 3D design or purchasing furniture, we always take payment up front.
Right.
And you know what, LuAnn, this is one thing that I've learned, and I know you know as well. And then you know what? And then you just say, do you have any other questions on that? Or you just go silent.
You just stop talking.
Stop
That's it.
talking.
Boom.
Because the problem is, that's right. Because the problem is you keep talking. You keep
talk yourself out of it.
And then before you know it, you might be like, you know what? Okay, fine. I'll just take a check when you get there.
Exactly.
And now you've broken from your process, and
right.
The client knows that you've broken from
That's
your process.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100% agree. And so I want to review one thing, and then I want you to tell us what you do when you leave the consult. Okay. And then I'm going to let you go. So the one thing I want to review is that when I asked you, what do you say to the person that pushes you back? I want to just say clearly that there is no magic explanation. It is simply a restating of that's the way you do things.
That's right.
You see, and that's what I find that a newer entrepreneur forgets is reason enough. Yes. It's simply, this is and your answer was, this is my process. This is how I do it. And as a matter of fact, it's a good time to let you know that it will be the same for the other services that you may end up ultimately engaging with me for. And it's like, the thing is, because I've had designers, that will say when we're at live events and they're talking with us in groups and different things, say, well, but if I just, basically that's just saying, because I said so. And I'm like, well, right, but in a nice way. It is my business. It is my option. It is my choice to run it this way. And the reality is that you this is another place where you earn somebody's respect who respects a well-run business.
Yes.
You see, if they're coming to you in good faith and wanting a good process and a well-run business, then they might not like that one little part. They might say, I'd rather give you the check when I see your eyeballs. But the reality is they can't argue with the fact that you have a system. So it's like if you sit at the ShopRite or the grocery store, instead of checking out here at this point, I want to check out in the parking lot.
That's right. Yeah.
They're like, I'm sorry, sweetie. This is where you check out. Don't take the crap past this point. You don't make the rules. And, there's nothing mean or bad about it because you're not in business with them yet. This potential client at this point has every ability to say, well, I have to say, I never pay for anything until I've received it.
That's right.
And this is going to be a problem for me. And that's okay then because
that's right.
We're not in business yet together.
That's right. Exactly.
So you can't be afraid to set the ground rules because we all want to know the ground rules. So let's wrap it up. Tell us now, we've had a successful initial, at the table there. You've now walked the part of the home that you're going to be working on. Mm-hmm. Maybe you've let them give you a couple more room tours of, other rooms and stuff. Yep. But how do you wrap up and what do you do and what's the next step?
Okay, so if people are simply just there and they simply need me there for a color consult or 2 hours, then the end of that consultation, I usually will find a reason just to send them a follow-up email. But I do actually fill out a form while I'm at the consultation. I don't go back home, spend 2 hours putting together a list of recommendations and it's just a 2-hour consult. Do you see what I mean?
In other words, the expectation at the front is that this is not a consult that we're knowingly doing as preparation for full service. The
That's
client
right.
has decided, they think anyway, that this
Right.
is a one-off consult.
A one-off. That's
Okay.
right. So if it's a one-off consult, then I have a form that I have in my binder that I bring, and it's list of, things that I may have recommended. And it's, LuAnn, this is not fancy. I am writing it. I am, we're all typing these days, so the printing and writing is not great. And I say that to the clients, and we kind of joke about it. Yeah, who writes anymore, that sort of thing. And while we're doing this, I will pass them my tablet, and I will say, here, you can have a look through some of our other work, right? And
nice. So you're making your notes, and they're looking through your portfolio.
That's right. Yeah. I'm saying, here's some work that you might like, here's some kitchens that I did or whatever. So again, you're that's just building your credibility even more, and it's giving them something to do, so they're not just sitting there watching you write it out.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. So then I take a picture of this, and then of the form that I just completed, and I just quickly review it with them. So here's what we spoke about with your layout for your living room. This is the type of drapery that I would recommend that you get, and and so that's either really helpful for them to move forward, or they may review that with their spouse and even then go like, oh my gosh, what type of drapery, and and how long should it be, and where are we going to get the fabric? Okay, should we just hire her? Yeah,
right.
Okay, let's just do it, right? But again, I'm giving it to them not with that intention. I'm really giving it with them the intention of, here, now you can go and help your.
Yeah, if you want to do it, go do it.
You've got a little roadmap here, right?
Right.
And then I say to them, is it okay if I send you a request for a review? I've really enjoyed meeting with you, and if you found it beneficial, it really helps my business, and and they'll be then normally. They're not going to say no. So I will, and then I may say, oh, I'm just going to send you a link to that one picture that I was telling you about, or this one beautiful paint color that we did this room in. I want you to see the color that other space. So it gives me just another quick, again, I'm not sending a massive email. It's a follow-up to say, thank you very much. We really enjoyed meeting with you. As promised, here's a link to that here is also a link to a review request. We'd be so appreciative if you could take 5 minutes to do this for us, that sort of thing. So there's another little touch point, and then I always send them out a thank you card, a written, personally handwritten thank you card after the consult, because no one really does a lot of thank yous and handwritten stuff. So that's one way. The other way is that if the initial consultation, I know they want the 3D design, they've seen my PowerPoints, we've gone through it, and they're like, okay, great. Next step is we will be, in order to move forward, first of all, to the next step, which is to bring in my contractor and my assistant, and we will measure the space, and we'll talk a little bit further about the structure, about the project. Again, it depends. Is it a custom decorating? My contractor may not need to be there. If it's a reno,
Right.
And I say that is a paid meeting. Okay, that's a paid meeting. And then following from that, then we will commence your design services. But before we can do that, I need to just have you review with me now. I'm going to review my letter of agreement with you. I actually review it 90% of the time, if they're going forward, at the end of the consult, which I know a lot of people get really confused about, and how do you do that? But people have to remember that I know my services so well, and the offerings that I give to clients, and unless it's like a 3,000 square foot basement that we did, I mean, if it's normally going to be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 square foot basement, or the room is a certain size, and it's not 10 rooms or one room that's the size of 10, we already have an idea of pricing, how much it's going to cost. That's thing. So I'm able to say, okay, so before we go any further, we're going to move forward with the next set of services. I'm going to sit down with you now. We're going to go through our letter of agreement. It's a one-page document. This isn't for purchasing. This isn't for the renovations and managing all of the trades. This is a one-page document, so they understand now what they're going to get with their next service that you're offering to them. And then from there, if they want to proceed, then you have another contract for implementation, because now it's a lot more detailed with how you're handling purchases and warranties and overseeing your trade work. So I have them sign that letter of agreement at the end of the initial consult, and I leave with either a check in hand for a retainer payment for 50% of that service that I've quoted them, or they send me an email transfer the next day, because again, we need that money, that payment, to make sure they're in our calendar, because now I'm blocking off more time, because it's not just a 2-hour, right? Now we're actually doing services.
Right.
And then that's what we do. We sit there and we review the LOA, and I always do it in person. I hear way too many people, again, mistake, to just leave it to the client, email it to the client. Like, it offers so many opportunities to answer more questions, to explain how you work, to be open about, okay, this is when you can expect what you're going to receive, the deliverables. What are the deliverables? And so again, it's something that people are a little confused. They're like, don't you have to send out a proposal? Don't you have to do this? And even if there's times before I leave and I'm like, okay, this is when I'm going to have to work out a little more. There's a few different things that have come up here. I say, you know what? I'm going to review my letter of agreement with you. I'll confirm the exact price afterwards, but I know I'm going to need to collect a deposit of at least $5,000 to move forward on this job. I may not have the exact price right there and then, but I know an idea that, oh God, this might be $10,000. Let's get $5,000 because it's going to be a minimum of 10, right? So that you need to know your service and your offerings a little bit more. But that way I leave the consult, then afterwards I email the client and say, okay, great. Now we're going to meet with my contractor and my assistant. This is the date that, these are a couple dates that were available if we haven't already discussed that at the consult and looked at our calendars, but I have to confirm with my contractor and my assistant, right?
Right.
And then now that's the next step of the process would be to still send them out a thank you card, obviously, do that. But now they're going further for further services. So again, it depends, but the next visit from there is usually a measure and a meeting with my contractor. Then we're ready to actually, be able to source stuff, because we may have also even looked at, I have like a budgeting sheet that I have, so I list all the furniture that they need, estimates of how much it costs. So it depends how much time we have in that initial consult, whether or not that happens there, or some of it may need to carry over to the measure meeting because my assistant can start measuring without me. My contractor isn't there for the full 2 hours, so that's how I work that part.
Okay. Well, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a whole nother show because, of course, I have 1,000 questions and we're an hour 20 into this.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I know.
No, I mean, the thing is that, and it really does prove the point that, your process from that point on is as detailed and is as thought out to get you the results that you want as your process from the first inquiry to hello at the front door. And that's the awesome part of it. So, but you do have, resources available for interior designers, Claire, who are like saying to themselves, I need more, Claire. So
right.
Tell us about your group. Tell us about your packages. I know we have on LuAnnNigara.com/resources, we have some of your items there. Tell us about them.
That's right. So I have my Rock the Initial Consultation Processes package, and basically everything that we've just discussed, it takes you from the very first phone call all the way to the end of the initial consultation. It's all of my templates, my checklist, my process flowchart.
Whoa, I didn't realize it includes all the templates and everything. Wow.
It's like 18 downloads and template. It's a lot. Because I never had this, LuAnn. It was and then people when I would be doing the one-on-one coaching, a lot of times what would come out of that was people saying like I would be then sending them information from the consultation, all of this process, right? So anyway, so I have that.
How much is that, Claire? Remind us.
That is $297 for Rock the Consult.
That's a bargain.
And that also includes, just so you know, I actually have a video in there. I hired an actress to be my client. So you actually see me on the initial phone call. That's actually with myself sort of thing.
Wow.
But I actually hired an actress to be my client. And you see me go to her house. What do I do to get ready for her house? How do I say hello? I'm knocking on the front door. How do I take control? See me with the
piece
folder.
Of work.
Right? Well, it was so funny because Darla Powell actually said one time to me, like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall at the consultation that you do. And I was like, that's funny because I'm actually putting together a whole package and I was going to do a video of, because no one shows you how to talk to a client.
Right.
No one
I
teaches
love
you this.
I love it.
Right? So anyway, so that includes that. And if you actually want the bundle, it also includes my letter of agreement and a starter pack. So that's a little bit more. That's $347.
Okay.
And then I have my, I have a video for profits course, but we didn't even touch on video, but I just want to say to people that, it's not uncommon for, even with these processes, if there's a couple videos that people have seen me in or been watching me for a year on Facebook or whatever, they could hug me when they open the door. It's literally like, "Hi, Claire," and I'm like, "Hi."
Yes, they feel like they
me.
know you.
So it's crazy. So if you want that, that's a Video for Profits course. Takes you through the whole who, what, where, why, when, and how of doing video for your business. And then I have my Facebook group, which you're a part of, and there's so many great designers, such a
awesome
fabulous,
group.
supportive community. It's called Interior Design Business Strategies. And you search that on Facebook. It's I say IDBS where there is no BS.
And the thing is, you have to be a legitimate interior designer to be in the group.
Or a student but you have to provide proof that you're enrolled in the program.
Right. So, and I, it's funny because I feel like everybody knows about your group, and then I will be, conversing with somebody in a DM or whatever, and they'll say, I don't know where to find this out. I'm like, well, find out in Claire's group or Veronica's group. They're like, what are those groups? I'm like, yikes, how do you know, right?
That's right.
So interior design business strategies, and then, of course, just give us 5 minutes on what Widwill is, since we teased the appetite with it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Widwill is something that I came up with, I don't know, a couple years ago. And it's really because I love sharing experiences. And I find that that's what designers also, we all love to hear. What is it that you did? What is it what happened? And how did you handle it? So I came up with my, you're going to sing it with me, LuAnn? You gonna sing it with me? You've been on my Widwill. You were in Vegas, and so it's my Widwill. And it's what I did and what I learned. And you pointed out in Las Vegas that I say it with a Texan accent for some reason. I don't know, I just do. And it's exactly like it sounds. I will sit down and I will just go live, usually on a Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Again, I don't necessarily commit to a specific day, but and I will put an event notice in my group, and I will say, okay, this is what I'm talking about. And so the one time I said, what did I do when my client shopped me? I just hung up the phone. Here's what we said. And, and it's great because people can get on, and I'm fully transparent. Like, me, I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, so I will just share exactly, this is what happened. This is what the circumstances were. This is her reaction. This is how I responded. And, this is where we're at now. Right. So it's hugely popular. And when I stopped doing it for a little bit early this year, I literally had people emailing me going, where's your Widwill? Like, why no Widwill? And I was like, okay, I need to get back to my Widwill. So yeah, and they usually do last kind of anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes, but that's because I'm getting so many people on there asking questions and appreciative that I'm actually sharing, what really happened, and not fluffing around it or giving you a few of the information, but not the full detail. Like, and that's how we learn. That's how we learn.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's awesome. And it's what I said to you earlier is why I do the Sales for Creatives course, at least at this point in time, live, because you need that opportunity to say, we can provide the roadmap for the way we express with confidence our system for doing business. But there is always that one situation where somebody says something to you and you do have to think on your feet, reframe, and come back again. And it's so hard to teach for that without the exact scenarios, right?
Yes.
And so it's funny. And so it's funny because recently Malky Berger has been in a couple of masterminds of mine, and she's in my Sales for Creatives course. And she just said to me recently, she said, I just love it. It's like being in your head. It's like, because I'm just expressing if this and then that. And so that's what the Widwill is for you. It's being in Claire's head. It's understanding how she processes the learning lessons that are always coming at us as business owners. And so this is what I did. This is what I learned from it. And this is what you can take from it, and ask me questions. I'll help you. So that's what's the power of your Widwill. I love it.
Oh, thank you. And, I also do the takeover sometimes. So sometimes I'll have someone step in, because sometimes I get tired of hearing my own voice, and other people might too. So it's nice to have,
right. Wendy did one time, right? Wendy Wallace-Chuck, right?
Wendy did one. I've got Corey Clausen doing one coming up.
Good.
Yeah. So, again, it's all about sharing. And if other people have great stories, I mean, I'm not the only one. We're all out there doing this every day. So, But yes, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you having me on the podcast for a third time. And yeah, I'll come back for a fourth and explain the next.
Absolutely. I think we're going to have to do it, Claire. We're going to have to take it from, okay, I sat down, I started making my notes for them before I leave, and then take it from there. So there's a lot there. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing all this with us. I appreciate it so much.
Well, thank you. I loved being here, and yeah, great to chat with you again, my friend.
Such good stuff, right? I love it. I just think, I said to you, it was from hello all the way to the end of the consult, specific information. So, and before I share with you my particular lessons that I want to point out from Claire's great insights, a big reminder about our newest sponsor, Kirsch. Kirsch is your resource for drapery hardware. From the clean lines of the Ripplefold Architrax series all the way to the new Breeza motorized collection. We use Kirsch hardware at WindowWorks all the time. Quality products, dozens of colors, finishes, endless styles of poles and finials. Go to Kirsch.com and ask and find out who your area distributor is. Get the new product catalogs and see how Kirsch can help you complete your drapery window treatments. That's Kirsch, KIRSCH.com. Alrighty, so Claire literally walked us through her entire process, along with the explanations on why she chooses to do certain actions and why she chooses certain words, right? Now, that's my love right there. That's like my love language, the words that we use and the whys and the hows of the specific types of words that we use. If you were with me in my Sales for Creatives course, we talked about this a ton. And even if you've worked with me one-on-one or masterminds, I'm always talking to you about selecting the right words, to select the words in intention with care, okay? So for example, Claire said in the email she writes, as promised, here is the so-and-so I said I would be sending you. I love that. This is Claire teaching her clients that she follows through on what she said she would do, right? I always say we teach people how to think about us as well as how to treat us. And Claire is teaching her clients to think of her as a professional, and that in turn teaches them to treat her as a professional, right? So meaning, what could happen if you don't set that seed there for as promised? So as I'm sure when Claire's working with her client, she was continually following through on what she said she would do. If she were to not put the as promised and she just did what she said she was going to do, it might be noticed. It might be noticed the second time, the third time. I don't know. And maybe it never gets noticed. But the thing is, instead of taking the chance that a client will randomly think at some point and notice it, instead, she understands that it's so much better to consistently let them know from the beginning, watch me, notice I follow through. Notice I do what I said I would do. Okay? So then what happens is, when this happens for the third or fourth time, now the client is starting to actually have the thought front of mind. Claire is reliable. Claire is organized. I can work with this lady. She is leading the ship. And I love it. All right. This is not to be underestimated. There's a ton of great information in this episode, but this is my favorite thing to point out because it is so critical when you are leading your projects, the language that you use. Okay. Now, big reminder, go to LuAnnIgara.com/resources where you can grab your Rock the Consult package. Claire has taken all the goodness that she talked about today and put it together for you in one space, all right? This will be especially helpful for you if you are at the part in your career where you might need a little confidence in your consult, okay? Because this is how we make dollar bills, right? Every single opportunity, every single time somebody calls our business, we want to make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to maximize that experience for that potential client so that they become our actual paying client. All right? So LuAnnIgara.com/resources. And I have one last housekeeping tip. On Tuesday, if you listened to last Tuesday's show with Christina Bruce, you already know, but if you didn't, I finally announced that LuAnn Live, It's About the Conversation 2020, will be next November. Yes, it will. Mark your calendars. I am finalizing the who, what, when, and where. But if you want to be one of the first people to know when the tickets are available and the exact date and location, then you just go and sign up for the email. So if you want to be on this email list, go to LuAnnLive.com. Okay, LuAnnLive.com. Whoever is on that email list is going to get an email from me with the date, the place, and the ability to order your ticket before I announce it on the show. Okay, there's good reason for that, isn't there? I'm only going to have limited tickets. So if you want to go and you have heard about it and you've heard about how amazing it was, don't hesitate, all right? So I will send an email first. If you were there last year, don't worry. You get first preference. If you were at LuAnn Live last year, you get the first email when tickets go on sale. And then the second email is going to go to this list, LuAnnLive.com. And then lastly, I will announce it on the podcast, okay? So, but for right now, just know that you need to plan to be in New Jersey next November, all right? Because I can't wait to see you again. All righty. Have a great day. Decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.